tell us a little bit about that and why you like it so much?
Well, written conversation is my favorite technique for adult literacy because anyone can do it. And it's very easy to get someone to write as if they were speaking. In fact, the last girl that I was helping, she was so sweet because she actually wrote like she wrote She really got into it. So she wrote just as she would speak, even to the point of saying and then she continued her sentence.
Okay. So can you tell us, explain to us a little bit more what written conversation is and how would you get started on that with a learner?
Well, I just have there's just one piece of paper in front of us and a pen or a pencil, and I would just ask questions as basic as, how are you? I would write it, how are you, and then send it over to the learner and have them write it back, and also welcome them to ask me whatever questions they'd like to ask as well, because it's also a way to get to learn about someone and also for them to get to learn about you, and that way it also develops a relationship. And it can also be used as a warm-up for a learner who's already experienced. Okay, I use it anytime I would work with a learner. I would start off with written conversation. Yes, I would ask more sophisticated questions to people who were familiar with the subject and who were at higher levels. So instead of asking, how are you, I might ask them maybe to describe what their hobbies were or what they hope to get from the program. So the higher their level, the more challenging I might make the question, as long as I thought that they were comfortable with it and if we had already had a repertoire. A man might write about his wife who's a secretary, but he may have trouble with the word secretary. But he may use enough letters that you know the word he's trying to say. So what you could do is ask him a question back about his wife who's a secretary using the word. Like you could ask him, which company does your wife work for where she is a secretary? And then you could write it correctly. And then there's a good chance he'll notice how you've written it, so that when he uses the word again, he may copy how you've done it. You could ask a question to a group and get them all to respond at once. Or you could pass the paper around and let them read each other's responses and add to it. I think you could be quite creative with that. I would ask a simple question like, how are you? And ask them to just write as if they were speaking. They could say, I'm good, or I'm fine, and not to worry about spelling or punctuation, just to write it the way that they think it is. Because quite often you can understand what someone's written just by looking at it. And phonetic spelling is usually very easy to understand. Because the most important thing to do is not to criticize them at that point, especially if they're level 1, especially if they're a new learner and new to the program. I would just encourage them to write it as they think it sounds, because quite often you can interpret what they've written. I'd ask them to just tell them not to worry about it. It doesn't have to be perfect, and we don't expect that. And just to try their best, just to try to write it the way it sounds, and that it really doesn't matter if it's not perfect. What will you supper?
Okay, what will you cook for supper? Oh, that could be anything. I like to cook. I like to cook anything. Macaroni and cheese. I love macaroni and cheese. I'm just talking to myself. I always do that.
I like to
I like to make.
make
Make. M.
may
M.
make
A. M. A. C. K.
Yep.
K. I like to make spaghetti. Lousy spelling. S. S. P.
Yep. Yep.
Sp-
Spot.
G. G.
There's a G there.
Spaghetti.
G. Close enough. I know what you mean.
I like to cook
Spaghetti is
spaghetti.
one of those ones, I just learned how to spell spaghetti when I was in
I
my
know there's
40s.
carbs in spaghetti, but I like it.
So I needed to hear in case something was wrong with it.
No, I think
I didn't be here, I'll take that for the building today.
that one should be all worked out.
Yeah, it's a good kind of business.
Alright, so I'm going to ask another question. Did you do... Okay. And the next. What letter's that to be?
What?
You're going to give me half.
Good for me, I got my stickies on. Yeah, you're going to reward yourself.
Home.
Yay!
What letter would that be?
Okay, great job.
You didn't make the mistake.